Hello, and welcome to ohmTown on Twitch. I am Mayor Watt, like I said. I'm the mayor of ohmTown, if it wasn't obvious. And what I do each day at 6 o'clock until 7 is go through the news that ohmTown aggregates in these 6 categories and down into these subcategories. Actually, it's groups. And not all of them have a ton of information, but all of them should have information. News, produced by others, but aggregated for me and other ohmTown citizens to peruse, and then you click a link and you get taken over to the site. And my show consists of just an hour. You know what? I did something right before coming on the air, and now it's making my throat scratchy. Pardon me. I normally don't clear my throat or cough on the air, but whatever. So we'll go through this for about an hour. It's 6 o'clock. I'm right on time. Yeah. So if you're new and you're just now seeing this for the first time, I put this together so that I could peruse the news that I was interested in directly. And I showed it to a few people and they liked the idea of it. And I added a couple more things and opened it up to the public. And now you too can become a citizen of ohmTown. And all you have to do is go to www.ohmtown.com. Now I stream a single 1 hour show, which is basically ohmTown news. But my goal is to work with others and obviously myself hosting shows. And I want to do 50 shows a week with a co-host or just somebody else hosting on their own, but through the ohmTown main stream. Turn that down a little bit more. Now this time, for the first time, I've actually grabbed a few links that I think are interesting. You may not think they're interesting, so I encourage you to go to ohmTown and find some interesting articles and then come back to chat with me tomorrow at 6 o'clock until 7 o'clock or later. Depends on how robust the conversation is. What do you think? I'm pretty chill about things. Not into screaming. Happy to entertain questions. My area of focus is actually threefold. It's business, technology, and society. And I've got a little bit of experience in all of that. Maybe a little more than a little bit. Not as much as some, more than others. Sounds about right for a middle of the road kind of show. But I hope you get something out of it. So this news on the front page, every time you click the front page, it'll probably have something new. Like that. And this was actually here yesterday, but I'll tell you something that happened this afternoon. I noticed that something broke on the front page, and the only way to fix it was to restore from an earlier backup. That's okay. The aggregator will go out and it'll get the information that I need still, so that I am informed about various elements of what's going on in the world. And that too is one of the things that I discuss with those who are patrons of my presentations. I talk to people about technology. I talk to them about technology and society, and I merge it all together with business and a bunch of other things: cybersecurity, digital forensics and investigations, law, creator kind of things like 3D printing and 3D modeling and all kinds of stuff, right? But I'm also a gamer at heart, so I love talking about games as well. So that's what all of this is. Just one big mashup of things that I'm interested in, and by proxy, I suppose a lot of others are interested in it too. But I'm really interested in having a conversation with you. So find some news, come on back, chat me up, and maybe I can even pull you into real-time chat, and I'll throw you in that box up there. There's no box right now, but that black space up there. There's a bunch of things that are hidden up there, and if you want to, I can set it up so that you have a Zoom image sitting up there, a stream, your Zoom stream. So be small screen famous and small streamer famous, and come on to my show and talk to me. This here is a blue Spark SL blackout. It's actually all black, and so if you see that, it's suddenly back in the picture because I've been rearranging things. Don't get me started going down that rabbit hole. Suffice it to say that everything that you see behind me was off a bit, quite a bit. And it was entirely my fault. Anyway, remedied now. So what do you think we get started on this? Lost Epic unveils 2 new areas and heroes and second major early access update. So what I do is I click on the links from the aggregator. I got to fix this. I say it now for the last week. This is not supposed to take this much information. Anyway, Lost Epic, the 2D Souls-like action RPG by Team Earth Wars. Showing off some stuff. So this really should be a smaller bit of information, but it should tease you into going over to the site. That's what I want you to do. Go over to the site, read what they have to say. I won't go through the whole thing, and then come on back and talk to me about it. This is a game on Steam, I believe. Article name written by Gio Castillo. Explore the House of Salvation, a maze-like area in the middle of a snowstorm. Sounds neat. Has cool graphics. Go and check it out. It's on Steam. Lost Epic launched on Steam in June last year. You can pick it up for $20. Early access. And there's a lot of stuff coming out this year. My goodness. God of War is coming out, I think, in 2 days. Lost Ark is coming out. What was it? What was the other thing? I cannot believe I forgot. Dying Light 2 is coming out, but not until next month. But it's on pre-purchase on Steam right now. Should check it out. Dying Light 1 was spectacular. I liked it. Elden Ring is on pre-purchase. I've got most of these. Go give it a shot. Come back. Talk to me about it. Read this article on rpgfan.com and come back and talk to me about it. And of course, I'll say this a couple of times during the stream. You can always go to ohmTown.com, click the links, follow it over to the source, read the source, make a comment there. Come on back to ohmTown, and you'll run into people that are going to be eventually showing up in the stream's chat and maybe on the stream itself. I really want to promote having a conversation live on the air. So we're done with this one, though. Maybe I should move this the other way around. So what else? There's a bunch on here. And like I said, every time you click on something, when you come back to the front page, there's going to be something new. So save it as another tab, open it in another window, whatever you want, so that you can keep tabs on where you are and what you want to look at, because it's grabbing all kinds of information. Yeah, this is a new one. You can pick up 16 or 32 gig DDR4 RAM sets pretty cheap right now. Well, cheap is subjective, let me tell you. But getting 3600 megahertz Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro RAM is not bad. Vengeance, a 16 gig Corsair Vengeance LPX down to 62. That's not bad. But if you're going to do a lot of stuff, you're going to run virtual machines, you're going to run editing software, bulk up your RAM. Get as much as you can get in your system. I've got 64 in mine. I run virtual machines though. You never know when you need another virtual machine. Well, I do, but. So this article is from PC Gamer, and they're letting you know about a deal. So go over to ohmTown, read this little bit, go over to the source, check it out. Come on back if you want. Personal Finance Daily. This highest paid profession in America pays $200,000. How to make the 2022 tax season less nerve-wracking. I don't know. If you're making $200,000 a year, your tax season probably isn't nerve-wracking. Unless you're a day trader. Or you're shuffling stuff around like crazy on Robinhood. So this is how I'll pitch this. If you are just starting out, right? Let's say you're in your first year of college, just out of high school, and nobody's actually kind of poked or prodded you into investing. Do it now. A little bit now will go and save your butt down the road. If you ever get sick and you don't have people around you to take care of you, living when you are older, you may not think about it now, but later you will. Believe me, I'm living it. And so I would encourage you to prepare for the future. And if you become a hot mess, let's just say that, and you need to live in a care facility, depending on where you end up, it's tens of thousands of dollars a month, depending on what the needs are for you. Not by any means the normal. That average cost is somewhere lower than that, but there are higher ones. But if you start now, you can make enough money through investing and reinvesting the profits from your investments, right? Get stocks that have dividends. Let them reinvest. The moment you pull it all out, though, that's when you're going to get taxed like nobody's business. But money that's making money, it's going to save your butt in the future. So go over to ohmTown, click on the link for stock marketeers. Go over to Market Watch. I'll even do it here for you. The highest paid profession in America pays $200,000. That's in a quote. So, the highest paid profession in America pays $200,000. And thousands of positions are available. So let's see what it is. One of the lasting impacts of COVID-19. Yeah, so there's a whole movement of anti-work on Reddit. So what is their highest paid job? Lists physicians as the highest paid occupation in the country, citing psychiatrists, obstetricians, etc., etc. I don't know, man. $200,000. That is it's a lot of work to get to $200,000 as the median salary. So there's always people that are making more. And if you do it right, you can strike up partnerships with other doctors and start a medical center. I know of somebody who did just that, and now they're making money hand over fist. But still, $200,000 during this time, it's going to be a hard won 200 grand. But again, if you invest now, you could be making that kind of money off of dividends and not feeling the pinch of having to work until you're 67 and a half. So I can keep going down this line. The Weekend is selling a penthouse in LA for $22.5 million. What else? Let me go back up to the front page and refresh it. And while that's going on, I'll go over to some of the links that I actually pulled so that we could follow it. U.S. may be responsible for almost half of recent past illegal tiger trade. I have always been triggered by the idea that the United States has probably played a major and previously underestimated role. You know, I don't like getting lumped in there. Have people in the United States been responsible for illegal tiger trade? Yeah, but not me. Not the average citizen. Not everyday Joes that are just trying to get their latte. But there are some people out there that are like, let me go kill a tiger. I would love to have its coat. It's illegal. Where is their moral compass? Where are their ethics? I know I'm not trying to virtue signal. I'm trying to say that it's illegal. And on top of it, it's immoral and unethical to go and kill tigers. Let them be tigers out there. If they need to be culled because they're overpopulating, great, but they're not. Somebody's doing this. Anyway, the article is over at phys.org. And it's a new study. By the way, when you pull up a study, look at the funding source and then assess. it's being funded by this company. Could there be some internal bias as to the data that's being picked? Not saying that that's happening with this. I'm just saying that you should always look at what is funding the research. Because when in the past, when it was cigarette companies funding the research, suddenly cigarettes are a healthy choice in smoking cigarettes because it does all sorts of things, whatever it might be. Gone are those days. We know that if you inhale cigarette smoke, you're coating your lungs with debris, making them less effective, and your lungs don't heal. They just don't. They gather up all of the stuff that you inhale. You might be able to cough some stuff up, but if it gets down into your lungs, it's basically going to start blocking the alveoli from taking in air, oxygen, and translating that into the bloodstream, and you end up with all kinds of illnesses. Why do I say that? Because if you don't read the source of the funding for this, you might take it as face value, only to find out through further investigation that it was funded by a bias creating source. And if it's not accounted for in the writing, further study needs to be done to verify the facts that are found in whatever study it is. And that's something that I promote in my daily travels: critical thinking and analysis, trust but verify. So come over to ohmTown, check out that article, go to the source, follow the link, come on back, post your comment about it, come on to my chat and chat with me about it, and maybe we can have a fruitful discussion. We may see eye to eye, but there's different context, different perspectives, even though our perspective may be very close or dead on the same. So what's this next one? This is in 4-Wheel Tech. This is one of the shows that I want to launch that involves technology and automotive industry trends and vehicle customizations and what the future might have and what the history has provided us to work off of. But in this article comes from Ars Technica, and it's a teen hacker finds bug that lets him control 25 plus Teslas remotely. Now, this is something that you'll have to go over to Ars Technica and read, and you can follow the link from ohmTown. Like I said, we just kind of consolidate it. I consolidate it down to a small snippet of the total article. This is actually more than what I'm trying to get, so I'll have to make a change. But suffice it to say that a flaw in any vehicle that allows remote access is dangerous. And can it be fixed? Yes, pretty much most of the time. There have been issues where like a pacemaker has been hacked remotely because the technology wasn't presumed to be a target or even detectable, or whatever the case may be. It's security through obfuscation, which just isn't security. Just because you think that nobody knows it's there doesn't mean that nobody knows it's there. Let me see. Nope, I don't have it here. It's in my bag, but I think I spoke about it in the very first show. I've got a device that can act as kind of a fake access point, and it can act like yours. And because it acts like yours, you connect to it. And then I can control everything. They're referred to as Wi-Fi pineapples. You can get them from a company called Hack5. You can always build your own, but it's easier if you get one from Hack5 and use their software. But it's drop dead simple to use, very easy to customize the software, and very powerful for pen testing or getting the message across to people who aren't security minded that, oh yes, if you are not aware of it, you will be a victim of it. I'll give you an example. One of my neighbors came to me. They knew what I do. They came to me and they said, hey, my internet is really slow. You think you can work your magic and tell me what's going on? Because the internet company says that there's no problem. Like, yeah, sure. So I started looking around and I found out that the neighbor next door had gained access to the admin console of the person that came to me. And amongst other things was gobbling up the bandwidth. And so I changed the access points. I updated the firmware. I don't know how they got in, because their logs were wiped out and nobody knows how long it was, but it was long enough for the person to realize that something was weird. But I changed the access point name to be No More Free Internet, and I take credit for it, but ultimately the neighbor moved. Even though before they moved, they went to the neighbor that came to me and said, hey, can I have the password to your access point? Yeah, no. And I knew who the offender was to begin with, because you can walk around and trace you can basically triangulate the noise of somebody that's making a connection to the access point. So it was easy to find out that it was actually the neighbor next door. And I've done this before because somebody has made their access point name my license plate, which isn't creepy in the least. So you just kind of walk around and you can figure out based on how loud the signal is where the access point is that is screaming out the name of your AP. Even if you say don't announce it with the right tools, you're still broadcasting your access point's name. It just doesn't show up when you open a list like your iPad and you click on connect to X, Y, and Z access point. If it's not broadcasting it publicly, it just flags it as saying don't display it, but it's still broadcasting it. That way you can connect to it still. This is the most basic concepts in cybersecurity that I'm just talking about, really lightly. But most people don't know. So it's one of the things that I talk about. But being able to control Teslas, it's a neat thing. And if you're a bug hunter, then if you can get paid for finding a bug like that, great. And there are always bug bounties. So go find bugs and help stomp them and make the world a more secure place. Don't exploit it. It's, exploitation begets exploitation. It's not a game. It's potentially the world's future. I know it sounds very hyperbolic to say it like that, but it really is. If you find out that you can hack into something, somebody else already knows it before you do, unless you are the preeminent cybersecurity bug sleuth. somebody else already knows about it and is utilizing it. But let's just move on from this. It's already halfway into this, and I've only touched the surface. Lawsuit aiming to break up Facebook group Meta can go ahead, according to this U.S. court. This is from The Guardian. Federal Trade Commission wants to force sale of Instagram and WhatsApp. So this is something that I've spoken about. When an organization scoops up another organization, they merge all of that data, and that data can be a tremendous amount, and it's capitalized on. Now, when you signed up for Instagram before it became a Facebook, now Meta property, you had an agreement, and the only way to bow out is to stop utilizing it entirely. You either agree wholeheartedly or you bow out entirely. But when you get acquired, when the company gets acquired, all of that material that you produced, it goes to whoever it is that buys that business. And can you break up from that business? Not so much in the United States. In the EU, you have the right to be forgotten. But in the United States, no such thing exists. So if you have some special someone in your life, pardon me, sorry about that. I had to take a drink. So if you have that special someone in your life and you break up with them, there's a reason why you broke up, and you want to get the heck out of Dodge. So, I'm tired of your crap, kind of a thing, right? And so you break up and you stop having a relationship with them, and sometimes friends pick a side and so on and so forth, right? But that's not what sites do. Sites have beacon code embedded on pages all over the planet. And when you go there, your identifier from when you were signed up is still signaling back via cookies and other tracking when you go to a page. Like Google knows when you go to another site. And I can give you an example of that. And now I'm not faulting them. This is just the business model, because if you don't do this kind of stuff, then you have to start charging people, and nobody, take it from me, I have I have years of experience in this. No user of an internet service wants to pay for it unless they find value in it to the point where they think that their $2 or $5 or $20 a month really rises to that occasion. They will not pay for it. They would rather it be free and you mine data until there's no data to mine, but there's always data to mine. So now Instagram and WhatsApp is owned by Meta. Used to be Facebook. Kind of how Google became Alphabet. When you're too big, you create another company so that a screw up from Facebook doesn't impact the meat and potatoes of the parent company. It's just that service, that subordinate service of the parent company will take steps to mitigate the harm, change the marketing, tweak things, and suddenly everybody forgets. Well, Insta and WhatsApp are owned by Facebook. It becomes Meta. All of that data is being merged. When both of those were acquired, I was talking with people in the tech industry and users of the various sites, and I said, all of your data is going to be merged together, even though that they're telling you that's not what's going to happen. And sure enough, it comes out later. Yeah, all of that data got merged into a super site. On the back end, everything is correlated, everything is linked together, and everything becomes more valuable for the investors to sell ads or lease the data to another company. Cambridge Analytica, I think it was called now. It's been a while. Or they do experimentation on the users. back like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, maybe longer now. It might be 7. They did an experiment on the users. Facebook did an experiment on the users to manipulate their mood. Happy news to some people, negative news to the other people, and they acted exactly like you would suspect. It's not like if I bombard you with negative news, suddenly you're going to be happy and running around giving everybody hugs. No. On the sites that were tracked, they acted negatively to the negative news, but they weren't tracked outside. So how many of these people were emotionally scarred? Nobody knows. Why? Because the list of users that were being manipulated aren't known. It's proprietary information. It's a business process. See, in academia and in medicine, you have to make sure that there's permission, and gone are the days from, the 20s, 30s, 40s, where people were sitting there poking people with a spike in their head simply because they were acting like not acting themselves, right? So suddenly you get a lobotomy. I mean, it's just a wild time in early psychology and psychiatry. Well, when you have a business that's running experiments on its users, that is some wild time. So, FTC wants to force the sale of Instagram and WhatsApp. Let me tell you, it's probably going to become a First Amendment thing and not antitrust. Why can't a company own X, Y, and Z companies? Because consolidation tends to cause problems when it gets too consolidated. Should anybody be able to dictate that? A lot of people are going to say no. A lot of people are going to say, well, it really matters what the context is. What's your take on it? I know mine, but let's talk. Come on back. Come tomorrow if you find this VOD. Come and talk to me. Let's see what you have to say about it. But be reasonable. If you scream and get mad and all of that, it's not going to work. It's not conducive, because when everybody starts screaming, you're in fight or flight mode. And that's when you stop thinking rationally. But come on back and we can talk. That's the word in tech. Antitrust. So on the Daily News Show, which is just the ohmTown Daily News Show, drone footage reveals sea dragon fossil found in the UK. I had heard about this. The source that provided this little snippet is ABC News, and I'm going to click the link. And this is exactly how the site operates for you. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm just going to look at a little bit of it. And so it's this big sea dragon fossil that was found recently in Britain, in the UK. 180 million year old ichthyosaur. Oh gosh, if you want to hear a funny podcast, it's the Greatest Generation Star Trek podcast. It's hilarious. But it's adult, so they have colorful language. I would not play it around your children if you have children. But we're finding, and we keep digging up all kinds of things. And the UK, the amount of history that is buried under 6 inches of dirt in the UK is phenomenal. Phenomenal. I think that you have the ability to just walk along the street somewhere, and I don't think you're allowed to do it, but you could literally just walk along the street and find a flower garden, dig down 6 inches, and you're going to find Roman ruins. It's amazing how much was done in relatively short amount of time of human history, in the UK, in in a place where it took an invasion force to go and build this stuff. It's really fascinating, and there's a show that's returning because they've got a Patreon account. It's called Time Team, and they have something like 20 years that is slowly being put out to YouTube. So you can subscribe on YouTube, but go over to their Patreon and subscribe. I'm one of their subscribers. And it's the old shows of Time Team. And it's just amazing what they find. I think it's amazing. And it just shows us how little we know about history, while at the same time knowing a lot about history. Dozens and dozens, hundreds or thousands of books that are previously just lost to the four winds until somebody stumbles across something buried in the dirt on a hill somewhere or in a valley somewhere. It's just amazing. So go check out Time Team and check out this source for the sea dragon fossil that's found in Britain. Then come on back. I'll try to stop saying that, but I want you to come back and talk to me about the stuff that you find via ohmTown. I think that it's a valuable asset to anybody who likes these categories and these topics within it. And if you're curious about what they are, ask a question. Let me know. Happy to talk. That's why I'm here, to inform a little bit, to promote discussion. And maybe I can give some context to something that you might see. Suspension upheld for lawyer accused of concealing inventories of shipwreck gold. Okay, so a lawyer accused of failing to disclose his client's inventories of shipwreck gold will be suspended for 4 years in Virginia. I wonder why. So this is an article that is in Law Nerd, and it's supplied by ABA Journal. So that's the source of where this news was ingested from. Deborah Cassens-Weiss is the writer for this. And if you don't know, lawyers are supposed to set up accounts, essentially trust accounts that are only used for that client, and they don't commingle, and they're not supposed to hide anything. But apparently, that's exactly what happened. The gold was taken from the shipwreck SS Central America, which sunk in 1857. So literally treasure hunters found it. Pretty amazing. And why this is somebody that is just trying to stay in the industry, because if you get caught for something like this, commingling funds and violating the trust and integrity of your station as an attorney, the book normally gets thrown at you hard, because the legal field has to provoke a sense of responsibility and professionalism within the industry. So if you run into an attorney and they act like, quote unquote, an ambulance chaser, it tends to degrade the integrity of the legal profession. And no attorney likes that, except for one that is, quote unquote, an ambulance chaser, right? Now, without getting too far into the reeds, which is easy for me to do, most people will say, I don't like attorneys or something like that. But believe me, everybody says that they hate attorneys until they need one, or they crack jokes, right? So there was one, I can't remember it off the top of my head right now, the entirety of this, but there was somebody that said that they should kill all the attorneys, but that person was a criminal that said that, and they were being brought to justice, and it was attorneys that are spearheading it, right? But there used to be a time where it was just a regular Joe that was really good at argumentation and debate, and not technically, what they weren't attorneys, they were just people that could represent you. Well, gone are those days, let me tell you. You can't sit for the bar until you go to law school, or you do baby bars in certain places. California is one. But unless, I don't know of anybody who has gotten successfully through baby bars, past the bar, and become an attorney. But obviously I don't know everybody. So if you know of somebody that has not gone to law school, right? The stereotypical law school where they have to take LSATs and get accepted by a law school and sit in law school and study and spend $150,000 at least. Yeah, there might be cheaper ones, but if you know of somebody that's cut that angle out so that they can become an attorney, it's going to be it's an uphill battle. It's a fight, because no law firm is going to hire you simply because I think that tenacity alone isn't good enough. Yeah, and this isn't a TV show, so it isn't Goliath. Anyway, if you're going to be an attorney, don't conceal inventories of shipwrecked gold. You're going to get caught. But that isn't the reason why you shouldn't do it. It's unethical. It's immoral. Anyway, go check it out. ABA Journal. Come on back. Are you a law nerd? Would be great to hear from you. Maybe we can co-host a show. That'd be great. I'm always looking for somebody. But I just started this. I haven't done my homework prior to this. I haven't gone looking for anybody. So if you're interested, come and talk. So this is under Warcrafters. Minimaker is a chaotic sculpture workshop for anti-perfectionists. Have you played itch.io? Let's go to this. So this is provided by PC Gamer. It was aggregated from PC Gamer, written by Katie Wickens. Minimaker is a chaotic sculpture workshop for anti-perfectionists. What do you think? Yeah. Go check it out. Just go over to ohmTown. Man, I got to chop this article up and get rid of 95% of it. But visit the link. You can find out, or go over to pcgamer.com and do a search for Minimaker. And you'll find this. Stock Marketeers. It's another show. Talks about stock market. John Chambers. Inflation will displace COVID as top economic issue for tech. Well, it already is. Then in the little snippet that I've got is it says inflation, COVID, and antitrust will dominate the attention of tech executives this year. Well, we know why antitrust, and that's because people are being acquired. Because when the risk is extremely high, those with the means will acquire the potential growth opportunities that others balk. That means if you have a business and you are suffering and somebody knows that you have a really good idea they'll pay you for that idea. You stay and kind of wean yourself away from the parent company. But then when there's too much consolidated, there's too much power in a central location, you can run afoul of antitrust. And then you end up in litigation, basically people saying you got too much. Well, if you throw enough money at it, you can get away with it. Not always, but it's interesting. But you can come and look at the article. It's at Market Watch. If you follow the link, it'll take you to it. But the two things that I'm really interested in talking about, and I won't go into great detail. We're almost at an hour anyway, and I still have like half of my list still to go through. We have inflation, we have COVID. Now, depending on who you talk to, they say that COVID was pretty much stifled. So Chinese manufacturers are still getting hammered, though. So is COVID in China still? Depending on who you talk to, no. The outward-facing marketing is no. But it's still costing an arm and a leg to get things because the production systems are still not operational and things aren't being fulfilled. And they're blaming inflation on people buying all of this stuff because it was originally the means of production were stymied by COVID. And now people are spending all of their unspent money supposedly because COVID is over, except that we have the highest infection rate ever, more people in hospitals than ever. Yet, supposedly, things are costing more because there isn't anything being produced, even though we're being told that production is supposed to be just fine because COVID isn't impacting anything. Although you have mixed messages because the reality of it is things are powered by humans, particularly in China. And when the human population is compromised, things are constrained. Still don't have my NVIDIA graphics card. My GPU, I want a 3080. Can't justify a 3090. By the time I get a 3080, I'm going to be able to get a 4000 or 40XX, whatever it's going to be called. I'm still running a lousy 1080. Can you believe that? Although it's a really nice Asus 1080. But it's not an RTX, and I want an RTX. I love ray tracing. The power of ray tracing changes everything in a quality game. I mean, it's amazing. It's like night and day, literally, because the light in the day scenes are so much better. And the night, everything is just amazing. Even Minecraft, for crying out loud. Anyway, I'm getting a little fanboy about RTX. At any rate, so what's driving up the costs? Well, the people that produce, the companies that produce, the organizations that are driven by a very niche subset of people in society. If they wanted to lower their margins so costs didn't increase a crazy amount, they could. But that's not what's happening. Supply and demand is the people that benefit from supply and demand will tell you, well, it's supply and demand. I'm not doing anything personally. I'm just following the rules of supply and demand. And when demand increases and the supply is constrained, the cost goes up. Sure, except that the number of people that are purchasing things aren't really outstripping what normally have been produced. But if you constrain it a little bit, then suddenly everything is going to go up in price. And this artificial constraint is going to drive up the costs. And you can blame COVID, but it's apparently still a problem, but not a problem, depending on who you talk to, which government or which person. Well, I can tell you, wood is still expensive, supplies are still constrained, things that you want, unless it's already in-house and in low demand, it's taking forever to get. So be happy with what you got, because prices are going up, and the people who will feel it the most are the people who don't have a lot. Think of the 70s. Go look at housing prices and cost of fuel and many other things. And you'll find out that there were food lines for cheese and bread in various places during the 70s. So we'll see what happens, but I can count on inflation being a problem. COVID will always be a problem, but I think it's primarily because people just, a large cohort of people won't wear a mask, and it's sociopathic. I mean, wearing a mask doesn't hinder you in any real way. And depending on the time frame, the people that are screaming anti-mask would have worn a mask in history. But now it's not their idea. And it's trampling on your freedoms. It's not. If you think a mask is hurting you, you might be a sociopath. That's my take on it. What's yours? Feel free to throw it in chat. You want to talk real time, voice and all, voice, picture, everything? Come on, let me know. I'm happy to pull you into my chat, into my stream. Right there, you'll be, oh gosh, this perspective right there. I'll throw you up on, right above chat, and we can talk real time. How about this one? When does God of War on PC unlock in your time zone? God of War is coming January 14th. This is some diehard reporting here to know when it comes on sale so that you can get it at its earliest, which if you buy it from Steam, it'll download as soon as it's released. So PCGamer.com has that article. It's looking pretty good. Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone. There's a lot of games out there. I saw somebody that had, I think it was 2,500 games in their Steam account. It's quite a bit. I think they might own everything. Maybe not. I don't know. So that's Warcrafters. It always grabs a bunch of news about games, and I want to focus on first-person shooters, real-time sims, role-playing games, and talk with people that play them and make them, and just build a little community about it, because I think it's interesting. There's other people that are reporting all of this stuff, and so in chat you can talk about it. But I want a consolidated location from disparate locations. And I don't take all of their article. I only take a little bit of it so that I can tease people to go over to the original writers of the material. Best CPU coolers in 2022. You want to know what the best is? Liquid cooling, all-in-one coolers. Always all-in-one coolers. They're quieter, they're reliable. They don't push dirt around so much. Dust. You still have to blow them out, but it's more reliable, at least to me, my experience. I've had to replace case fans. I've never had to replace a CPU cooler in all of the machines that I've purchased over the last 8 years. No, longer than that. 12 years. So I've been purchasing liquid cooled machines, either pre-built or built myself, for 12 plus years. I can't even think far enough back to when I first purchased them, because I was doing things like liquid nitrogen cooling and stuff like that on open rigs to see how much I could overclock. Gone are those days. Somebody else can do it now, but I've only replaced one. Actually, I've replaced one, and it was a fairly modern machine. And the cooler just started making a weird sound. And so I ended up replacing the whole thing. It seemed like the water just kind of evaporated from it. But anyway, that's not what this is all about. Follow the link. Go to pcgamer.com, best CPU coolers, and they'll tell you all kinds of what the best will be. And then come on back and talk shop with me. So I'm going to close that, and then we'll go over to the Reality Hacker group. Amaze VR secures $15 million to bring immersive concerts to VR. So VR concerts might be interesting. I don't know if it's ready for prime time, but Los Angeles company creating on-demand VR video. Bridge financing. So you can find out about it by going to Road to VR. I'll click the link just like you would. Opens up a new tab. And VR, I think, has some great potential. But we need higher resolution. We need wireless. And we need more content. So I don't know how much people are going to be into going to a VR concert. But there are hologram concerts, various artists that are completely animated. Like it's a hologram. It's a computer generated hologram. And thousands of people show up to the concerts. So hold on one second. Let me. It just kind of slipped my mind who the big one is. What is her name? I mention her all the time when I'm talking about tech. And Hatsune Miku, that's right. Has a huge following. And if you've never seen one of the concerts, you should just go to YouTube and do a search for Hatsune Miku. And it'll blow you away. You might think it's weird or something, but it's quite fascinating. And the music is actually, the lyrics and everything is sung to you in such a way that you might think that it's lyrical, but it's actually just sounds that make up the words. I'm not quite explaining that right, but the software that is used is Vocaloid, as far as I know. I think they still use Vocaloid, but it's quite fascinating technology, and the band is basically kind of hidden away. And Hatsune Miku and friends come onto the stage, larger than life holograms, and play the music or sing the music using Vocaloid. And it sounds really interesting. But I won't play it. I'll probably end up with a strike in about 3 seconds of starting up a video. But check out Amaze VR and roadtovr.com. So here's another Stock Marketeers article. It's a little snippet, and it's titled U.S. Labor Shortages Tied to Low Immigration in Past 2 Years. Well, it's probably more COVID. So they're saying low immigration, but it's low immigration tied to COVID. And not to mention a formerly hostile government leadership saying, stay the hell away. But really, I mean, the people that immigrate into the United States, sometimes illegally, they're doing jobs that most Americans wouldn't want to do, let alone survive it for a long time. Just look at some of the jobs that illegal immigrants and firstborn workers in the United States, foreign-born first generation here in the United States, what they have to go through. And if you are, a compassionate, sympathetic human being, you can look at that plight and go, yeah, I don't want to do that particular job. It looks like it's backbreaking work. But there are people out there that are hungry enough to do that gig. And I appreciate their dedication to wanting to be in the United States and pursue that American dream, even though, it's more difficult if you are not from the United States. For some, others can come and seem to just matriculate through the system with ease and find success with ease. So it's never always cut and dry the way that a lot of people want to put it out there. But some work, most Americans don't want to do. There's always more to it, and we can end up going down a rabbit hole talking about it, but I'm going to keep on shuttling through all of this material, and I'm happy to talk about it the next time you are here, and tomorrow at 6 o'clock I'll be back. Become a plant detective in this occult botany shop puzzle game next week. And this is from PC Gamer. We can click the link, but it's a demo of Strange Horticulture. And if you want to watch it or listen to the article get spoken to you, then go to PC Gamer and you'll see it there. You can always follow the link on ohmTown and it'll take you straight to it. I'm going to go and look this up on Steam. Actually, I'll do it while y'all are here. And maybe it's in there. Hopefully you didn't hear my trackball. I use a trackball. Strange Horticulture. Yeah, it's there. So Strange Horticulture is on Steam. And you can download the demo from Steam. And it looks neat. I mean, at first perspective, I think that it'll be fun to try out. So I'll end up playing that maybe tonight. But go and check it out. Come back and talk to me. That's what I'm interested in. And there's always more to talk about. And I'll just skip that one. And this is what I talked about it briefly, very briefly yesterday, but Dying Light 2 is supposedly a game that has 500 hours of gameplay. And so I'm going to end up buying Dying Light 2 and probably playing it as a stream regularly. It really depends on how often I get free time to play the game versus doing a show, because this is mostly just chatting. But maybe I can start playing some more games for either before or after the actual talk show part, the just chatting part. But I think I'm going to call it a night. We're coming up on well after the hour, and there's more in me. I can keep on talking about stuff, but unless people show up in chat and have questions or comments, I'll even field complaints, and it doesn't have to be about what we're talking about. It could be something, barely remotely aligned with what we're talking about. And there's typically, degrees of separation from one topic and another topic, and you can hopscotch between them and find where there is some type of alignment. But for now, we're going to call it quits. And I'm going to go buy Dying Light 2 so I can be prepared for it to launch next month. Sound good? Sounds good to me. So in the meantime, have a good night. I'm Mayor Watt. I run ohmTown. Man, that sounded like I was Master Blaster and running Bartertown. Anyway, I'm the mayor of ohmTown. Stop by every day, 6 p.m. Eastern. Go to ohmTown.com. Find me on ohmTown at Twitter. I'm on YouTube. I try to be everywhere, but I'm focusing on Twitch. So you'll always find me at 6 o'clock at least. And I surf around Twitch as Mayor Watt, not as ohmTown. So if you find me on Twitch, don't follow me, follow ohmTown, or follow both of us. But I stream as ohmTown, and I navigate Twitch as Mayor Watt. So I hope you like the show. I'll bring you back to the front page. Again, there's always something new. Something new every day is actually my business's motto. And I hope to see you here tomorrow, 6 p.m. Be there. Come say hi.